Good evening. Greenpeace say they will continue their campaign against the oil giant Shell at sea, on land and in the courts. That's despite coming to an agreement with the oil firm which will prevent activists from protesting near certain North Sea oil and gas sites for up to 10 years. The two sides have reached a settlement after protesters boarded a vessel last year. Well, Stephen Brown is live in the newsroom for us tonight. And Stephen, despite this agreement, it does sound that Greenpeace are still pretty defiant.
Yeah, it would certainly appear so. I mean, if you cast your mind back to January of last year, and you may remember that we covered the story of several Greenpeace activists who boarded a production vessel while it was being transported in the Atlantic Ocean. The protesters scaled the newly built FPSO Penguin north of the Canary Islands. Those activists remained on board for 13 days before getting off the vessel when it arrived in Norway. Now, those protesters used ropes to get themselves on board from inflatable boats. They were protesting Shell's activities in the North Sea and its continued oil and gas production. Now, Shell then decided to take legal action against Greenpeace. There has now been this settlement that has been agreed between the two sides. That includes protesters remaining away from several North Sea rigs and the campaign group donating £300,000 to the charity, the RNLI. But despite this agreement, Greenpeace say this won't stop them campaigning against the firm.
These sites were not strategically targeted for us anyway. These are old, aging basins. Shell has been trying to actually pump money in those basins to redevelop those sites. By no means does this mean that we will not be holding them to account in the North Sea. We will be continuing to campaign against them at sea, on land, in courts, at their AGMs.
So, Stephen, you mentioned protesters are having to stay away from certain rigs. What are the details around that?
Yeah, this is quite a key element of this agreement. The deal means that Greenpeace must remain at least 500 metres away from several platforms. They include Penguin, but also Shearwater, Gannet and Nelson platforms too in the North Sea. It means that protesters cannot board, attempt to board, interfere with or damage the installations or equipment. Now, Greenpeace have agreed that they will stay away from 3 of those sites for 5 years and stay away from 1 of those sites for 10 years. Shell says the right to protest is fundamental and that's never been an issue for them, but they say what this case was about was an illegal boarding. They say that kind of stunt at sea is a serious risk to safety and life. Greenpeace say, though, that they took all the necessary safety precautions. One more note, of course, Greenpeace are currently challenging the consent of the Jackdaw field in the North Sea in court. And guess who's behind that development? Well, Shell, of course.
I see. Stephen, many thanks for that.